Hey, welcome to the Infinity Bros podcast. I'm your host, Max Mosier. Today we talk about the Avengers Endgame Re-release and how it will affect Spider-Man Far From Home, and will it be able to beat the domestic and global box office records. We then get into what's hot, what's not, talk about the Stranger Things Season 3 trailer, and cap it off with the top 5 Keanu Reeves movies of all time. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the Infinity Bros podcast. Hey, welcome to the Infinity Bros podcast, the only podcast that's perfectly balanced, as all things should be. I'm your host, Max Mosier, and today with 3 other Infinity Bros, but more importantly, Zayne, you're back in the studio today with us.
Yes, sir. I'm excited to be here, just, hanging out with the pals, talking about some stuff.
Hanging out with the pals.
Yeah, it's a sentence. It refers to hanging out with people you're friends with, and we come up with awesome opinions on things.
Wait, so is this friends in like the 1960s or?
Yeah, I'm a time traveler.
Okay, well that makes sense.
I'm just breaking news here first, just letting everyone know.
And to believe you've wasted it on working at Amazon.
Right?
Good on you.
I never said I was a good time traveler.
Good on you. Well, he's already spoken, and he's already getting dialogue without introduction, so I'll pass it off to my dear friend, Isaac Edlund. Welcome.
Thank you. Hold on to your butts.
Isaac, how are you today?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you very much.
Am I correct that tomorrow's the big baby shower?
Tomorrow is the big baby shower. We're expecting baby number 2 in the next couple weeks here, which is pretty crazy, so it's going to be nuts, dude.
Are you nervous?
A little bit. Like, I don't know. With our first kid, it didn't hit me until she was here already. So I feel like that's probably going to be what it's like again with number 2. So
I was asking about the baby shower, not the child, but that's fine too. That's okay. Yeah, I thought it was really weird that you said you were a little nervous about it, so it's fine, it's whatever. So, and then finally we have Mark Jones.
Welcome to the Infinity Bros universe and all our fans.
It's episode 11, Mark.
Yes, it is.
Fans and listeners, because some of our listeners apparently are not fans. So
it's fine.
Time out real quick. So, is it possible to just be a listener and not a fan? I don't think it's possible. After a certain amount of listening, after a certain amount of time,
they're living in a false reality.
Yeah,
certain people would debate you on that.
Well, Chad's full of crap. And Chad, if you're listening right now, you're full of crap, okay? If you listen to more than 2 episodes and continue to come back, you're a fan. So suck it up.
Or he's got an addiction to us, and then it's not really being a fan. You can't live without us.
Obsessed.
Mm-hmm. Do you think does he like the Facebook page, Isaac?
Probably. And
Can we get a confirmation on that?
If we had pictures or like t-shirts with our faces on them or something, he'd probably have one, I would guess.
Whose face do you think he would pick if we made individual t-shirts with just our
Mark's,
faces?
For sure.
I can definitely it's definitely not Robbie. 100% not Robbie.
Yeah.
Who do you think our top sale would be?
Robbie.
Our top sale would probably be Mark right out the gate, but as the show goes on and people get to know us more, probably Jarrett and Isaac. A soft group of people for Zayne.
Honestly, if we're just going popular vote, it probably is Robbie, because he's like semi-Insta famous because he uses like 1,600 hashtags on each of his Insta posts.
Well, if we're going off Insta famous, then it's me because I have the most followers on Instagram.
Okay, here we go.
I'm just saying,
okay.
if that's the barometer, I'm not saying I would agree. Robbie probably has a bigger following for what he does, but if we're going off followers, it's me.
But how many likes do you get on your posts? That's the real question.
Well, I'm going to look real quick while you keep talking and stalling. I'm going to look at our most recent post and see what I can get. Zayne,
I think it would be me because I'm the most beautiful.
I mean, you can have thousands and thousands of Insta followers, but they could all be bots for all we know. I mean, if you only get 2 likes on each of your pictures, it doesn't matter how many followers you have.
Dude got 13 likes, I'm sorry, on his most recent. Make it 14. I'm going to like it for him. But then mine got 84 on my most recent. So
Wait, okay. So what's the context though? What's your picture versus his picture?
well, the context is it's a work appreciation picture, right? His is just typical Robbie working out with a different piece of clothing or accessory on. Today he wore glasses and wrote nerd, but he did the bit where he capitalized half the letters and didn't capitalize the other half, like the SpongeBob meme. And no disrespect to Robbie, but it's just, I use that word to make fun of people, not to make fun of myself.
Do you think he's wearing glasses because he couldn't see straight after how badly we roasted him last week?
Probably. Or he's just totally in on the whole hipster fad and his glasses don't even have lenses in them.
Absolutely.
At what length of beard do we have to approach Robbie and be like, you need to stop this hipster lifestyle?
I think
how
Robbie's
long-
already past that, though, Mark.
Yeah, he might be past
Just
that
looking at
stage.
the beer Robbie drinks,
Seriously.
Right.
it's already over. I think the worst part about not being on our show out of the six of us, because I produce and record every week, so I have to edit, and so I get to be on every week. But for the five of you, and you're not on, I mean, you go through the verbal gauntlet those first 20 minutes, and then you get jabs as the show goes. Like, do you pursue listening to episodes that you don't listen to? Like, do you look
Like that
forward
I'm
to
not
listening
on?
to?
Oh,
like when you're not on, do you
definitely.
look forward
Yeah.
to it, or are you
I
just
can't
like, oh
wait
my gosh,
to
it's so
see
scary?
how much I'm going to get made fun of every single episode that I'm not on, for sure.
I honestly cannot tell if you're being
That's why I'm
sarcastic
on
right
every
now.
episode. I can be because I don't want to be made fun of.
Okay, Zane, what about you?
I just because of our friendship, like I just embrace it because I know it's gonna happen regardless. So
Right. I mean, Zane's the one exception because he gets made fun of even when he's on the podcast. So
Oh yeah, it doesn't even matter whether I'm
Yeah.
here or not. Like, I'm getting shots, so
right.
I'm just
right.
used to it by now. It's just a way of life, Max. It's okay.
Yeah, no, I'm picking up on that. I don't know. I just wonder for you guys, like, do you look forward to not being on, or do you just kind of like say, hey, I'm done with the Infinity Bros this week, not doing the whole podcast bit. I really would prefer to not have my ego be trashed and tarnished it is for Robbie.
I super look forward to listening to the episodes that I'm not on, for sure.
Gotcha. Mark, what do you hate about Jarrett?
That I don't know if he exists or not.
Don't know if he's a real person.
That's what keeps me up at night.
He could just be catfishing our whole Infinity Bros group.
I did ask him today. I said, are you going to really be at lunch tomorrow? Because Zane and I are driving to go see him for lunch, and we're worried that he might not show up, that we might just be on a TV show.
It's just gonna yeah. Exactly.
Are you coming, by the way, to that, Isaac? Are you coming with us?
It's actually someone you wronged in college, and he's gonna kill you both.
It's been just a huge ploy to get back at us, and they're gonna make a movie about us.
What if he's got a vendetta against all of us because he wasn't in our friend group like back then, and he's just like, this is just the long con for him. He's just like in our Infinity Bros group so he can eventually just trash all of us.
The only person who's capable of a long con in our group of this level is Mark. And Mark's here.
Jarrett has the intelligence capability to do
Jarrett's
that,
intelligent until he agrees with my opinion. Okay, that's enough of that. Get out of here with that, Isaac. Get the heck out of here.
Yeah, but the problem with Jarrett is his intelligence is limited to the parameters that James sets.
Okay, just as you said the word parameters and James in the same sentence does not make you more intelligent than him, okay? Gosh.
I would like to go on record and saying that I do not think that there is anything wrong with Jarrett, and I love him as a person. So there.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, I want to comment on the long con thing. You don't have to be intelligent to deceive people. You just have to be willing to do whatever it takes.
That's
Just
a good
remember
point.
that, guys.
Hashtag whatever it takes.
Well, hey, welcome to the Infinity Bros podcast. We are not going to be conning you on this episode, and we hope that you enjoy us. We hope you check us out. We are a pop culture podcast. We're going to talk about things that are relevant in pop culture to us, things in the news, things we've seen this week, things we've listened to, read, heard, and just trying to kind of take a forum of guys chatting and put it onto a podcast. So we hope you enjoy it. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Podbean, Spotify, iTunes. Hey, if you like this episode too, at the end of the episode, go to the iTunes app, give us a rating. If it's a 4-star and you're like the guy last week who just left a 4-star and didn't leave a comment, we want you to stop listening to us, okay? Just tell us what you think, okay? Don't listen to us. We already don't have many followers as it is, so losing you isn't going to be too much for us. But if you
follower who gave us 4 stars, don't listen to Max. Max is a punk. Keep listening to us because we'll probably get better.
That's Zane. He has a first name. His name's Zane.
I unplug my headset and head home.
Come on. But we hope you check us out. We hope you enjoy this episode, and we hope you continue to check us out. We reviewed a lot of great movies, and we're going to be reviewing a lot of things this year. And yeah, this is the early stages, but I'd like to think by next year we'll be kicking it full gear. But we got a lot of news to get to, gentlemen. Are you ready to get to it?
Yes, sir.
Cool. So the first news, the big news that is kind of going around Hollywood today, is the Avengers Endgame Re-release. Kevin Feige has officially announced that they will be making one last campaign for Avengers Endgame. It's going to get re-released sometime next week at the end of June. And their hope is to add the 7 minutes of bonus footage, probably deleted scenes, things that got cut, like the very, very, very small trimmings they did of the movie to get cut. And they're going to put that as well as a Stan Lee tribute on the back end of that. It's supposed to be just a 7 to 8 minute edition, I believe. But this is their kind of push for Avatar. And gentlemen, we know that they are about $50 million away from passing Avatar, which also happens to be owned by Disney. Do you think this final re-release is going to do it? And are you excited? Zane, we'll start with you.
I mean, how could you say it wouldn't pass it? Because like all of us, which one of us would honestly not go see it again? I'm pretty sure every single one of us is gonna go see it again. Because, I mean, yeah, it's just 7 more minutes, and you just want to see it again to experience that. And yeah, so I think they're gonna get that push, just because it really does not have that far to go.
Zane, how many times have you seen it initially?
I only went to it once, but no, hear my reason. The only reason I went to it once is because on movies that have a huge emotional toll, I like to just watch it once and then leave my impressions of the movie with myself, and just kind of let that mellow and deep into my mind so I can just remember what those were the next time I watch it.
How pretentious of you, Zane.
Thank you.
Zane, you got a lot of emotions. That's what I heard. Lots of emotions for Zane.
I'm very much.
I'm the reverse on that topic. I went back 3 times because I wanted to feel those emotions more and more.
Mark, what do you think? Do you think this can beat Avatar? And what are you excited about with this extra 7 minutes?
Well, I thought it was going to be Avatar anyways this week, leading up to the Spider-Man release. Just the thought, hey, I got to go see Endgame again before I see Spider-Man. But with this extra 7 minutes, it's more of incentive for fans to go and see, what they add. And I didn't know about the Stan Lee tribute, so that's pretty exciting. I just hope the 7 minutes is just them putting in like Deadpool in places. Like that's it. like that's their change. They just added 7 minutes of Deadpool footage.
That's a horrible idea, Mark. I hate that idea.
I love that idea.
Yeah, but you hate Deadpool, so that's why
I don't hate Deadpool. It's just...
What is it? What is it that you don't hate about it?
The bit is overdone. It's
What's
overdone.
What's overdone?
The Deadpool bit.
Yeah, okay.
How can it be overdone when it's
Hey,
never
good luck
even
in
been
It was
fixed?
overdone in Deadpool 2 because Deadpool 2 wasn't that good.
Well, then you could say the whole MCU is overdone because there's been like 20 movies.
I could say that about the MCU, but the MCU has different genre flavors. Deadpool is just fart jokes and fourth wall breaking.
I'm going to give your take on Deadpool a fan-tastic.
That's fine.
I agree with Mark on that.
I can't believe Zane agreed with you. That's crazy. Isaac, what do you think about the Avengers re-release?
I'll give it a 2. I'll give it a 2.
Thank you.
Nothing further to put on that. I won't get a fan-tastic, but I still think it's a bad take. So
that's fine. You're gonna give it what some would call a Green Lantern. That's fine. Isaac, what are your ideas of? What are your thoughts on this upcoming film, and will it beat Avatar?
I think it was going to beat Avatar even before they announced this. I just think it's going to give more incentive to people to get out there to beat it sooner. Like I said, I thought it was going to beat it before it eventually got out of theaters this summer anyways, but with extra content, people are going to be like, oh my gosh, I got to go see this. And from what I've heard, there's a post-credits scene that they're adding, the Stan Lee tribute. And from what it sounded like, it looked like all of the 6 or 7 minutes of content was all going to be basically at the very end. Like they weren't adding anything really during the movie from what I was reading. So, it's not going to be anything game changing or anything like that. But with new content, Marvel fans are going to be flocking back to it again. So I think it was going to beat it before, but for now, it was just a move by Marvel to be like, hey, we want to blow Avatar out of the water sooner than later. So let's do it now.
Do we know how long the re-release is going to be in theaters?
Well, if it's 7 extra minutes, then wouldn't it be like 3 hours and
9 minutes or something like that?
No, as in like they're re-releasing it. Is it going to be in theaters for a week? Is it going to be in theaters for 2 weeks?
Well, have they taken it out of theaters? Because if they haven't, then
No,
they're
it's
just,
still in theaters.
They haven't.
So it's just like, here's 7 more minutes, everybody.
Well, right, but then does that extend the run that they're keeping it in theaters, or
That's
is it
a good
still
question.
Well, I mean,
'Cause-
Avatar was in theaters for like 180 days,
Yeah, it
and
was
then
in
came
theaters
out,
for a
and then
long
they
time.
re-released it too. So
Yeah, I'm not mad about them re-releasing it because Avatar did that too. So it's like whatever. But that's an interesting question, Zane, because a lot of the small town theaters that may only have 1 or 2 or 3 screens or whatever. Like Endgame's probably been out for a while because they had to keep putting out newer movies and stuff like that. So you wonder if this re-release is going to bring some of those smaller theaters, bring it back to theaters, or if they're just going to keep going with like the new movies that come out every week.
I think too, this was kind of inevitable. Mark, you nailed it with Spider-Man Far From Home coming out. They had to make some push to kind of get people to go back to see this before Spider-Man, right? And it's very clear in their marketing with Spider-Man that, hey, this is the true follow-up to Endgame. You have to watch this. So Spider-Man's probably going to make $1 billion just off of Endgame momentum. Do you think this was always in the plan? Or do you think this is a reaction to, hey, they beat Titanic? Which, by the way, too, Isaac, not just Avatar put their film in a long time. Titanic stayed in theaters for 5-6 months as well.
Right.
Just to try to kind of extend that run. So anybody who's going to get grouchy or mock Avengers for doing that is outside their mind because we're only, a month and a half to 2 months out of this movie being released? I mean, come on.
I bet this is their plan no matter what. I bet. Even if they made $1 billion, which I'm sure they estimated they'd probably make at least 2, but I bet this was always in their plan. Like, hey, to give more hype to the Spider-Man movie, we'll re-release it with some extra content so people go back in theaters and see it right before they go see Spider-Man.
So, like, piggybacking off of that, do you think the unreleased stuff is going to have to do with Spider-Man?
Might with the end credits scene.
Right, that's what I'm thinking. Like, is there going to be, because we know, coming from...
Maybe get a reveal of like, oh, here's if the whole Spider-Man Far From Home aspect of, there's a split after the snap, maybe that's what we go see. We go see like this portal opening out in space, or somewhere in New York, like a hole opens up and Mysterio falls out like all confused and naked and doesn't know where he is and disoriented and he just then that's it, just like Terminator or something.
Right, because that was the thought that crossed my mind too, of like, is that what they want to add in for that scene of giving even a small
more context
tidbit, but the context of if he's from another universe, well, how did he get here?
Well, maybe they'll put the Captain Marvel post-credit scene at the front end of it.
Right.
Maybe they
heard the podcast last week and gonna do what I suggested.
Maybe.
Definitely.
Maybe. Hey guys, I got one more question, but I want to make sure our audience knows what we're asking. Hey, this may be your first time listening to the show, and we want you to be familiar with our rating system. So we're going to put the rating bumper right here.
Here on the Infinity Bros podcast, everything is ranked from a 0 to 6 point scale. 0 meaning horrible, and 6 meaning absolutely excellent. If all of the Infinity Bros rank something a 6, it gets an Infinity Step.
All right. So we're going to go back, Zane, real quick to you. What do you rate this news on a scale of 1 to 6? How excited did this make you to go see it again?
I'm going to give it at least a 5. Like, it definitely perks my interest and really is, like I said, it's going to get me to go back and see it again. And, just having a little bit more content. And, like, I think it's cool that they're doing more of a fleshed out tribute to Stan Lee. And just to be able to see all that and then hopefully get a good connection now to run into Spider-Man coming out.
Isaac, what about you, man?
I'll also give it a 5 out of 6. I probably before this I was debating going back and seeing it one more time, but I might not have. But now I feel like I am going to, because I want to obviously see the new content that they have, and if they do have a kind of a post-credit scene that leads into Spider-Man or another, movie or what direction they're moving in next, like I want to check that out. So I'm definitely probably going to go see it again. And I've mentioned several times before, I wouldn't consider myself like a movie connoisseur or critic or anything like that. But so when I'm going to a movie more than once in theaters, that's kind of a big deal for me. So going 3 times is a pretty big deal. So it's going to get me to go again. So yeah, I'd give that a 5 out of 6.
Mark?
I'd probably say 4 out of 6 for me. I was 50-50 about seeing it in the first place before Spider-Man, which I probably was going to anyways. But I think if to make it a 6 out of 6 stones rating, I would almost have to have like more like, hey, in the extra 7 minutes we have Wolverine, and then it's just a Fantastic Four character.
But you don't even know, Mark. You don't know what's in the
but like that. But that's it, like the 5 of those minutes could be a Stan Lee tribute. For all we know. So, I mean, I'm excited, but I'm not over the fence. Pushing kids out of the way to get into the theater.
No, I hear you. I understand what you're saying. I don't. Yeah. I'm giving this a 3 out of 6 just because I'm neutral on it. I was gonna go see it, as Mark said, probably beforehand. Sure, they're throwing 7 minutes in, but like, how much is 7 minutes here? There's been some deleted scenes that have been like Age of Ultron. There's a deleted scene that's like 15 seconds long. Are they just gonna fill it with stuff like that? I don't know. The Stan Lee tribute, we got that in the Captain Marvel movie. And that was great. I didn't need anything after that. So to me, am I glad that they're doing it? Sure. Did we need it? Absolutely not. Did we need this extra 7 minutes? No. That's what the Blu-ray's for, in my opinion. But I'm neutral on it. Wanted to hear your thoughts on it, and I know people were gonna ask us about it because we are the Infinity Bros after all. So yeah.
And maybe a deleted scene was the Defenders showing up. Maybe we'll get that. We'll get like Daredevil, Luke Cage.
They come out of a portal.
The writers have discussed, Marcus and McFeely. They talked about in Infinity War that they did have a draft where in New York the Defenders did like briefly appear during that Doctor Strange Iron Man scene, but they cut it. So it was talked about early on, but they can never do it. So there's no way that scene's going to be in it. It'd be great if there was, but there's just no way. I'm sorry, Mark. I hate to be the guy that I'm.
Well, I mean, at least it's you again.
Chalk it up in the House of Mark theories.
Yeah. House of Mark. Oh, hi, Mark.
Oh, hi, Mark.
That's what we should do for House of Mark. That should be the bumper. The bumper should be,
yes.
Oh, hi, Mark. That's what it should
Mark.
be. That is exactly what it should be. We figured it out on the show,
Love
too.
it.
That's awesome. On to the next topic today. The first Spider-Man Far From Home reactions were released. And I want to read some of them to you guys today. They have no spoilers, so if you're like, oh no, are they going to have spoilers? They will not. They are just reaction from some critics that I got an early screening. Want to hear your guys' thoughts. And I know we have a show next week, but July 4th is ramping up, so we don't know if we're going to be able to hear everybody's opinions. So want to hear your thoughts and expectations of this movie going into it. Excuse me. Collider Frosty says, absolutely loves Spider-Man Far From Home, captures the spirit of the comics, and mixes in some amazing movie magic. The second the film ended, I wanted to watch it again. Jake Gyllenhaal is absolutely fantastic. Mike Ryan said, absolutely love Spider-Man Far From Home. I'm a huge Mysterio fan, and Gyllenhaal nails him. Also, the movie is very clever and funny in how it handles the fallout post-Endgame in explaining how this world works. Jermaine Lussier says, Spider-Man Far From Home made me smile from start to finish. It's got huge reveals and exciting set pieces, but the way it builds off of Endgame to go deeper and deeper into Peter's emotions is really what makes it soars. Mysterio also rules. I can't wait to see it again. Guys, universal statements across the board, just as Zane and I are reading these on the computer screen right now, is fun, solid sequel. A lot of people are calling it the best Spider-Man they've ever seen. Isaac, that's going to be a tall task for you and I because we are big into the Spider-Verse fans. I'm going to start with you, Zane. Zane, as you're reading these, what is your reaction to the critics, and what are you most excited about for this movie?
Well, it's definitely a good thing to see. It's not like I had too much of a negative outlook on it anyways. I am actually, excuse me, very encouraging to see a lot of good vibes and good feedback coming back for Gyllenhaal and Mysterio. Because I always thought that his villain was often kind of overlooked a little bit, if you want to put it like that, in the comics, just because you got, Green Goblin, Venom, all this stuff. But Mysterio was always one of those villains to me in the comics that was very fascinating. And so I'm glad that he can come on the screen and is a very well-liked villain. So that definitely gets me excited. And then it's Spider-Man. And then the fallout and everything coming off of Endgame and just getting the emotions from that and setting up where it's going to go from here. Like, just reading these things, it makes me feel excited for this movie to come out, and I think it's going to be good.
Sean O'Connell says, Spider-Man Far From Home is jaw-dropping. First half is a lot of fun, coasting on the good vibes of the Homecoming cast, but that second half is extraordinary, delivering the best Spidey action we've ever seen and the most shocking ending in a Spider-Man movie ever. Isaac, we're going to finish with you because I know you're a big Spider-Man fan, so I know you're going to have some passionate thoughts on this. Mark, what are your thoughts?
Well, my thoughts are I don't let critics determine whether or not I'm going to go see a movie. So
okay.
I'm going to go see Spider-Man Far From Home no matter what. And I'm going to love it because it's from the MCU. And I'll form my opinion when I see it.
Okay, cool. Don't be a part of the thing then. Go get a drink. Isaac, you're up.
Okay. So I am, as you said, Max, and as I've pointed out many times on the Infinity Bros podcast, a huge Spider-Man fan. Always been my favorite superhero.
I would argue you're the biggest one.
The biggest one? Okay.
Out of our group, I would argue you're the biggest
out of our
one.
group. Okay. I was going to say the biggest Spider-Man fan of all time. I don't know if I could argue that, but maybe in Infinity Bros I could argue that. Yeah, sure. So I'm quite involved in Spidey Twitter. I'm pretty up on all the Spidey updates and everything. And reading all the critics' reviews so far of Spider-Man Far From Home, nothing but positive. Like, every single review that I've read is very positive. Many of them, like you said, were saying that this is the best Spider-Man film that they've seen, beating out Spider-Man 2. Not many critics necessarily feel like Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is their favorite Spider-Man
I don't know,
movie,
Isaac. I think a lot of critics put that one up there when it came out.
No, critics don't like animated movies.
Well, it won an Oscar. I don't know. I think more people.
It won an Oscar for
think.
animated picture. Yeah,
still.
So did Suicide Squad.
Good point.
But
Thank you, Mark.
but anyway, so it's really encouraging to hear that there are so many awesome things coming out of, because Spider-Man Homecoming was great. I love Spider-Man Homecoming, but that movie kind of had mixed reviews among critics and kind of just MCU fans in general. I think generally it was a positively viewed movie. Like, everybody pretty much liked Spider-Man Homecoming, but just to see the sequel getting so much praise so far out of the gate, it's just really encouraging to me. And I am pumped for this movie regardless if, critics say it's good or not. But Mysterio, Jake Gyllenhaal as Mysterio, looks amazing. His costume looks great, and he is a great actor, so I'm excited to see his take on Mysterio. And from all the trailers that we've seen, he kind of is not necessarily replacing Iron Man, but he's the guy that's kind of alongside Tom Holland, Spider-Man, and kind of like helping him figure out all the problems they have in the movie. But eventually that he's going to turn heel and be the villain of this movie. So
I don't think so. I don't think he's going to turn heel. I think he is from another universe.
What? No. He's going to turn heel.
No,
it's
dude. I totally think he's from another. I think that's going to be the shocking twist.
If that is the shocking twist, then I already don't like it, because I want Mysterio as a villain, because he's a great villain.
What if the villain is our planet's Mysterio?
That's exactly what I'm thinking.
Oh, okay. Well,
like,
I mean,
it's Jake Gyllenhaal. Like, Jake Gyllenhaal.
What if the real villain is Tobey Maguire Spider-Man.
I'm sorry, you're not talking right now, Mark, because you don't care about the reviews. So you need to go wait and.
No, I care about this movie. I just don't let other adults determine
we can have
whether or
the three of
not
us a
I should go
dialogue. You
see a
can go do your
movie.
thing.
I'm sorry that you let Rotten Tomatoes consume your life.
These are from Twitter. None of these are from Rotten Tomatoes.
Which ones are from Rotten Tomatoes, or do you just keep those to yourself now?
Well, no, those are on the Rotten Tomatoes website and app.
Yeah,
but I don't understand what your issue is here.
No, I have no issue.
I just wish you liked Spider-Man.
I do like Spider-Man.
Oh, good. Well, good. You're turning a corner then. No,
But
Isaac, I definitely don't think Mysterio is going to be bad. I think that's the shock here.
I think if it turns out that there is another Mysterio or another character that is Jake Gyllenhaal from this universe, then I'd probably be fine with that. But I just love Mysterio as a villain, so I'm just excited to see what happens in this movie. And I don't know, from the trailers that we've been getting, they keep revealing so much more and more, and I feel like they want us to think that they're revealing a ton, but they're not revealing a lot.
No.
So I'm really excited to see what the big twist, and that's what people are saying, is that the big twist in this movie is fantastic, and basically that the movie builds, it starts out great and just keeps getting better and better throughout the movie. So that's what I'm really excited for, and all these actors and Tom Holland, Jake Gyllenhaal, and the other kind of ensemble with Nick Fury, Samuel L. Jackson, and Kobe Smulders as Maria Hill. Great cast, movie of all time. But I'm all for anything Spider-Man, so I'm ready for it.
Oh, I got a little input. I know. Do you think they're gonna end this movie because they've teased it, out there? Do you think this movie might end with a Venom or maybe a Deadpool, not necessarily themselves, but a reference to them?
Probably a reference to Deadpool more. I mean, a Venom more than likely than Deadpool.
Okay.
Because Kevin Feige just talked about it at the most recent thing he was at, I believe, at this premiere or another. Maybe it was Toy Story 4. He was talking about how Sony can use Venom however they want. The tone of the video, which I'll put in the show notes, did not strike me as a guy who wanted it to be involved. And as somebody who still has not seen Venom because he does not want to give Venom the time, I totally agree with. But I would, if for the question you're asking, Mark, yes, I think Venom would get referenced more likely than Deadpool. And with if these different dimensions and universes is true, that opens the door for Venom to potentially be available to do. And so at least the Venom that Sony's been doing that, I don't know, somehow got success. It's kind of crazy.
There also have been rumors and stuff flying around that Deadpool may be in Spider-Man 3, and Feige actually basically shut those rumors down too. He was like, yeah, we're not necessarily planning on, having Deadpool in Spider-Man 3, but that's a little different than just them referencing it at the end of the movie, which, maybe they will, but I think that's a little early for those two still. They might do a reference to a different villain that might come up in Spider-Man 3 or whatever, but I would be surprised if we got either of those.
Now, Mark, you may not like this because it's a rumor, okay? It's not. It doesn't necessarily mean it's true. I just got it online.
Oh,
so
I like rumors. I like rumors.
If you don't want to. Okay, good. All right, good. There's a rumor going around that the twist is that MJ is
Tom Holland is the villain?
that Nick Fury's daughter is MJ. What do you think?
You brought that up a couple podcasts ago.
I did. What do you think? Do you think that would be a good twist, or do you think it's cheap, kind of playing on the?
Well, I don't think it matters, but I know you wouldn't like it.
I hate it, but I just want to know what Isaac thinks about it because Isaac's the big Spider-Man fan, and Zane too. I don't think Zane was on that show.
I honestly don't really care that much because Zendaya. It's Zendaya, right? That plays MJ, not Mary Jones or Mary Jane.
Mary Jane.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Mary
I
Jones.
thought you were a big
I'm a big Spider-Man fan,
fan,
guys. I know all the characters.
Oh, Spider-Man's so iconic. There's so many iconic characters in Spider-Man, like
star-studded cast, baby.
He's
He's got that star-studded cast.
Right.
Birdman.
Jones. But anyways, she didn't play the classic MJ from the comics, so I honestly don't care if she's Nick Fury's daughter or whatever. It's not going to make a big difference in the story. So cool, go for it. I I wasn't a huge fan of her in the Homecoming movie. She's not like, she's not like the worst character and doesn't break the movie, but I like when movies pay homage to the comics, and it just, it's just a break from the comics, and that's fine.
We got that though already. We got that in Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, not necessarily. I mean, I would even say that Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2 are more closer to the comic storylines than Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3.
That's I don't know about that, but okay.
Did you like the organic web shooters of Tobey Maguire, or?
Well, I mean, like the way they did MJ was way better in that than the way that they were ever going to do it in Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah,
and
well,
MJ is Gwen Stacy did come first.
Yes,
but MJ is more iconic down the stretch,
right? And if the Amazing Spider-Man movies were more popular and better in general, maybe they would have introduced MJ. Who knows? But anyways,
popularities aside, those movies were terrible.
Yeah, they were bad. They were bad. But I still own them because I like Spider-Man. So,
gosh, you are a big fan of Mary Jones.
Mary Jones, she's my favorite character.
Under more than 2 Skrulls make an appearance.
Under.
There's no way any
after Captain Marvel. I just don't see Skrulls being a huge part of the MCU going forward.
Oh, no. They're definitely part of it, but not in this movie. Zane, what do you think about the rumor that Nick Fury's daughter could be MJ?
I mean, I don't hate it, but like I'm not, like I'm just kind of numb to it. Like they've deviated enough from what they're doing with setting stuff up that like it could work, and if they don't, like I don't really care. Like if they do it, cool, it's interesting. If they don't, it's not like a deal breaker.
That's basically my thoughts at this point too. It's like, okay, if they do it, cool. If not, whatever. I don't care really either way. So
that's why I'm like, it's not really that much of a shocker because it just doesn't hold that. Like, if it happens, interesting. If it doesn't, it doesn't matter either. So it's like, I guess I won't be shocked either way.
I think it's just cheap. It's kind of playing on the Michael Keaton surprise we had in the first one, and I just don't know how you can keep that going every movie. Yeah, because if you do it here, you got to do it in the third one.
And Nick Fury's last name isn't Jones, so it wouldn't really work out.
It's a great point. Mark. I never thought of that. That is not his last name, and it feels cheap too. It feels like, oh, they're both black. Isn't it convenient? How convenient is that? Right? It's just,
is MJ of African American descent? I thought she was
Zendaya?
more like
Zendaya. She's mixed.
Well, okay. Well, I'm saying
Mark,
the
let's
character
move
that
on.
she's playing.
Mark. We're gonna move on. Mark, we're gonna move on. That's the second episode in a row where you have tried to push the agenda a little too far.
Hey,
here we go.
Future Max, go back 10 seconds and delete what you just said.
Don't worry, I'm already talking to myself when we're editing. No, I didn't introduce it. What I said was the point I'm making is it's lazy. It's lazy writing. I know you don't disagree. I just like it. Maybe I'm more passionate about it just because of the longevity of the MCU. If the MCU is going to keep kicking for another decade like it did the first decade, it can't rely on tricks like that.
What if it's a real big twist and Zendaya's actually Nick Fury's mom?
Yeah, that would be a big twist.
Now that's a movie I'll go see. I'm Mark Jones, and I approve this message.
Twist.
That's a twist.
That is quite the twist. Any other thoughts on Spider-Man? Oh, last question real quick. Rate your hype level for this movie. Go, Zane, real quick.
5. 5 out of 6.
Isaac.
6 out of 6. I'm pumped for Spider-Man, dude.
Mark.
Yeah, I'd give it a 6 out of 6. Coming right after Endgame, getting some more Spider-Man, and Mysterio, and the beautiful Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah, I'll give it a 4.5 just because these posters are so bad.
That's why I had to give it a 5.
I'm not giving it a 6.
Posters
These
are bad.
Suck. The posters suck. We talked about it last episode. Final hot top.
Basing your rating off of posters and critics, Max? That's very unlikely.
Are you done? Do you have any other I said, do you have any other comments? And then you said no, and then you have more comments.
Silence. Cricket.
Are you done? Do you have any more comments? I can't wait. I
He's
can't wait
refusing
to
to speak right now.
I'm gonna delete everything you say. It's just gonna be we're gonna do what we did like episode 3 and delete everything.
Just don't take him
Every
out of the
reference to you.
podcast completely.
Okay, the final hot topic item we want to talk about is the Stranger Things season 3 trailer. Woo. The final trailer for Stranger Things season 3 just came out. Comes out July 4th. I'm gonna be on a cruise July 4th, and I'm really kind of bumming that I'm missing this.
Dude,
I'm really excited about this. Zane and I are gonna be playing this while we talk. But we're gonna start with you, Mark. Mark, what is your hype for this show coming up next week? 2 weeks from now. And what did you think of this trailer?
It got me more excited for it. I got excited after the first trailer, or was it a teaser? I don't remember. But it seems kind of odd. Like, is this going to be their last season? Because after this last trailer, I'm thinking like, how are they're kids? How are they going to defeat this monster of a thing that they're kind of presenting to us, or like this team of velociraptors that sound like, Alien or Predator or something like that. But one thing you kind of got in the last trailer is 11 can probably speak normal now, because for 3 years in the future they're supposed to be like freshmen in high school. So I mean, I don't know what else you want me to say. I'm pumped for it. I see that Carrie Elwes is going to be in this, and Jack Busey, so I'm pretty pumped about that.
What was your rating? I do not. What was your rating of the trailer?
I would give it 5 out of 6.
Okay. All right. Isaac, what are your thoughts on this trailer?
Trailer was amazing. I am super pumped for Stranger Things 3. I think the first trailer that they came out with was a little better than this one, but that doesn't diminish my hype for it. My hype is at 6 out of 6. Super pumped for it. I'd give this trailer a 5 out of 6, and I'd give the first trailer that came out a 6 out of 6.
Okay. Zane, you got me on this show a couple of years ago.
You're
like, dude, you got to watch this show. We're on season 3. I'm so glad that you got me on it. What are your thoughts on this trailer? I've been most excited to hear from you about this.
I'm really excited about this. I can definitely agree a bit with Isaac in that I think the first trailer, I don't know if it was just because like it was that first bit, like we hadn't had anything in a while, so maybe it's just some of that first exposure that got you more pumped for it.
Yeah, and I think it like held back a little bit more, so there's like more mystery or whatever.
You're trying to fill in more of the gaps. But this, it definitely gets me excited. I love that they're still taking a lot of stuff that you had from, first, second season. They're bringing this back around, this whole idea of like something's already, in this world, and like, hey, we close the portal, but what if something's already here? Because then it makes, it lends to this mystery of like, what is the master plan of the stuff from the other side? Like before, I mean, we had like, the Demigorgon, and then in season 2 we had
what are those dog things called? Yeah.
Well, it was the dog thing, and then I don't remember what the mind splicer or whatever, the big thing they gave it. But
he's like, it would look like it's the same guy from season 2, right?
It gives that vibe, but I still feel like the first 2 seasons set it up as you just kind of have this monster you're going against, whereas it's really building it now, and especially with this trailer, that whatever that thing is, it definitely has a thought process behind it. And I feel like that lends more into the terror of it almost, because you're realizing that this isn't just like some creature that's going off of like base instinct. Like now you're beginning to see whatever this evil is, it has a plan, and it's actually fully acting things out. And how, are the kids and 11, like, how can they stop it? And I feel like it's so much of this has been set up that the villain, quote unquote, has been one step ahead. And so I feel like we're really going to get the full extent. We're going to really see what 11 can do. We're really going to see, some testing of the friendship bonds, if you will, and just how everyone's going to pull together to actually beat what this evil, we get a face of. And like, I'm excited because I feel like we're going to get that showdown again of 11 and whatever this representation of this evil is. And I feel like that's going to be a very cool moment.
If you're David Harbour, are you so glad that this is coming out after the mess that Hellboy was?
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh, that poor guy. I mean, just like, he thought for sure he's going to be a star, and then it's like, nope, this movie sucked and all that.
If critics weren't so mean, the movie would have been just fine to fans.
The movie was pretty bad.
Did you
the
see
numbers
it?
speak to itself.
Did you see it? Did you see
No.
it?
The numbers.
So you didn't form. Hang on. So you didn't form your own opinion, and you're saying it was bad.
No. Just the movie.
It's all right. It's all right.
The
Chief.
movie
Go on,
did
move on.
poorly.
Move on with your
the
comment
movie
about
did
David
poorly.
Harbour.
So if it was so excellent, it would have done better.
So Venom is a really good movie then, right?
No,
Yeah.
Venom is also a terrible movie.
Really?
Oh,
but it did so well
but
at the box
critics
office, Max.
liked
That's what
it,
we
and
just
it
were
made so much
saying.
money.
The numbers.
I'm just saying
Hey,
that. I'm
Max,
just saying
the
people
welcome
numbers
to
didn't
your
don't
like
box,
it.
Max. Max, welcome to your box. I hope you enjoy it.
No, the difference between Venom
There's any drink you want in
and
that box.
Hellboy is Venom is built on Spider-Man. It gets the Spider-Man shoe in. We all know that.
Was
That's-
Spider-Man in that movie?
No, which is exactly why I didn't go see it.
Oh, weird. So, but it made a ton of money, so then it was...
Because it's part of
successful?
Spider-Man. Because people
But you
know it's
didn't-
part of Spider-Man.
But you didn't see it, so then what does that make it? I don't know. You're confusing me in the Infinity Bros universe.
I do love that
The
you
universe
keep
is all out of
referring to
whack
this,
that I
the
didn't see this
Infinity
movie.
Bros universe. I like that, Mark.
This is not a redirect. This is I was going to ask Isaac this before Mark called me out. Isaac, I know you love star-studded casts, and this show has it. Can you name 3 people from this show real quick at the top of your head?
Are you talking about Stranger Things?
Yeah, I'm talking about actors. Can you name 3
Absolutely not. No, I cannot. Well, David Hopper.
David Hopper,
That's
yep,
the
I
only
gave you
one
that one.
can-
What
wait,
else?
David
Come on,
Harbour.
there's a
Well,
couple.
David Hopper.
That's his character
David
name.
Harbour.
It's David Harbour.
No, I can
Winona Ryder.
absolutely cannot.
His name is
name.
Jim Hopper.
Winona Ryder. Yeah, I could.
Well,
Jim
it's
Hopper, it's David
and
Harbour.
David Harbour is the
Yeah,
actor's
so he
name.
David
got
Harbour.
half of it. He got half of it. We'll
got
give him
half
that
of
one.
Okay.
We're going to give him
Okay.
that.
No, but I can absolutely not name anybody else in the show. So
Okay.
You can't name Winona Ryder? What's
Yeah,
wrong
come
with
on.
you?
When you
Well,
could
Mark
name
already
Sean
said that.
Astin from season 2.
How do you not know the kid with who had the weird teeth thing? It's like Finn Wolfhard or
I
something
don't know
like
their
that.
names. I mean,
Yeah,
if I
Finn
can look them
Wolfhard,
all
like,
up.
come on.
Finn Wolfhard. Yeah. I mean, I'm just not good.
I already dropped 2 of the names when I was reviewing the trailer.
I'm just not good at coming up with names off the top of my head. So
know.
if you put me on the spot like that, I'll just defer to you guys. for
We
that.
just had to follow up with after last
You
week. We put you through
Hey,
the meat grinder.
did I say that there was a star-studded cast in Stranger Things? No, I didn't say
No,
that,
but
no.
it does have a star-studded cast. I would say now it does.
Well, now it
Does
does after they are all stars from the previous Stranger Things seasons.
So now you're saying
Yeah,
it has
because
a
luckily they're
star-studded
not
cast.
basing it off of Hellboy, because otherwise, in
Oh, thank
Max's
the
world,
Lord.
it would be crap.
I'm not
Well, they
saying they
should
based
base
it
it
off.
off
But
But
of
I'm
if
just
Venom.
saying
Tom
that
Hardy
makes
was in
you
it, they
our
would
money.
make Max all
They should
confused,
base
right?
it off
I don't
of
know.
I mean, even though, I'll be honest, if they...
Maybe
like,
Venom should be
tore-
the villain of Stranger Things season 3.
If
Then
they,
I would
Venom
watch
is
it.
if they tore that rift open and Hellboy walked out, it would be a better movie than the Hellboy movie was.
Yeah, Zane saw Hellboy. There we go.
And I like Hellboy. It's just
Yeah, I like
there
Hellboy.
was
It was bad.
so much
It was
stuff
bad. It's
that was
okay.
wrong with it. But yeah,
Yeah, there was a lot of stuff that I thought was wrong with Venom, but it still made a ton of money.
that's true.
I
Do you
know.
mean it's successful in
That one
Max's eyes?
doesn't. That one doesn't even make sense to me.
Or
I don't
does it? I
understand
don't
how
know.
it does. I don't know. The only thing I can say is it's Spider-Man. Like that's the only thing I could honestly say.
I
Spider-Man
mean, Max
had to
also
carry
won't
Venom.
watch
Well,
Mad
that's the
Max
only
because
thing-
it has his name in it. So I
No,
don't really know
that's
how
not
you
why.
want to take Max's
I won't
opinion
watch
on
Mad Max
anything
because
from now on.
I won't watch Mad Max for a couple reasons. One, it doesn't interest me to begin with. Like it wouldn't. It never interested me to begin with. Okay, never interested me. Secondly, my whole life I got Max. Oh, like Mad Max. Okay. So it's like, okay, I'm not giving my money to that movie. I'm not doing it.
Max, why are you scared of strong female-led movies?
It's,
Yeah, why are you so
I
mad
thought,
right
I
now?
thought Tom Hardy was the lead in that movie.
He's not.
Really?
Charlize Theron is.
Really? I didn't even know that. Didn't even know that.
Yeah, critic probably
You
didn't
would
tell
know
you
Does
that
that
if
if you
change
want
your
to know.
opinion
If you
of
watch
it,
the
Max?
movie.
No, not really. I still won't see it. The name Mad Max is still on the title, so yeah. Getting back to Stranger Things real quick. I give this trailer a 6 out of 6. I'm gonna be honest with everybody. I wasn't that hyped for this season until this trailer. Like I was like, oh yeah, it's coming in July. I guess I'll watch it when I can because I got a pretty busy July. And now I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to figure out that second week of July when I get back when I'm going to watch this, because this looks phenomenal. And I love Doc Ray Montgomery he was in Power Rangers. He played the Red Ranger. Well, who's his character in this one, Zane? What's his character's name again?
Does him and his sister come in?
They're season 2. They're season 2.
Yeah, it's gonna bug me. I can't remember.
I know. I'm gonna
can't think
find
of
it.
his name.
I'm on IMDb right now looking at it. Isaac, you should try IMDb out sometime.
I have it on my phone.
Oh, good for you,
That's
man.
what I use for my references that I can't think
Billy
of.
Hargrove.
Max, if Naomi Scott was in this season, would it make you want to see it even more?
No, it would not. It would not make me want to see it more. You keep
Yeah, it
implying
would.
that I have this like crush on her.
Well, you told me you did.
Well, no. What I told you is I said that she's pretty. That's what I said. I never said I had a crush on her.
Yeah, okay. Okay, Max.
Yeah, that's fine. Well,
Okay.
yeah.
No, it's okay.
Whatever,
yeah.
Mark. Make up
okay.
lies on the air. That's fine.
I didn't make up a lie.
You did. You said I have a crush and I don't have a crush on her.
You just said you have a crush on her.
You're out of control tonight.
Mark is trying to turn everything into a House of M segment. He's like throwing baloney at a wall and seeing what sticks.
He's hoping. Zane's still mad that last episode we made a joke that Zane doesn't have a job, and I made the joke, but then Mark laughed really, really hard after I said it. So Zane didn't take it out on me like he should have. He's taking it out on Mark. That's the problem. So, yeah, I give this trailer a 6. Looking forward to seeing this trailer. I think
Out of curiosity, what did you think of the previous trailer?
I mean, it was like a 3. Neutral for me. I was like in the middle. I was like, oh, okay, cool, whatever. Like I just haven't been as jazzed. Season 2 was not nearly as good as season 1 to me. It fell flat with that 11 episode where they had the one where she ran off, and it's like it had a really strong ending, but that episode really felt like I was so building up, and then boom, plateaued, and then they built back up, and I just felt like season 1 was so phenomenal. It was like one of the. I mean, season 1 of Stranger Things is going to be talked about.
Season 1 was really good.
Yeah, when we talk about Netflix, if it for whatever reason fails down the line, we're going to talk about Stranger Things season 1. That show was phenomenal, and I remember I was like, it doesn't look that good. And Zane, you and your roommates were like, you have to watch this. You need to watch this show. You will love this show, and you weren't lying. Once I turned it on, it was done. It was phenomenal. So
even though it's really scary.
It's a little spooky.
Wow, yeah, that's.
And I've been known
growing every day.
Thank you, Mark. Mark, that's a positive piece of affirmation that I need from you on a show that's riddled with angry comments. We barely spoke about Stranger Things. It feels like. I'm sorry. We barely spoke on Stranger Things. It feels like that episode. But any more comments before we move on? Cool. All right. Let's get into what's hot, what's snot. We talk about the things in pop culture that are affecting us today. Some old, some new, and we break them down for you. Sometimes it's news, sometimes it's shows, sometimes it's clips, sometimes it's Mark's random AEW thoughts. We don't know what it's going to be, but that's what
They're
it is.
not random.
So let's get the AEW crap out of the way at the get-go,
Right,
we can do everything else.
Okay, here I am.
Mark, why don't you start us off?
Well, I'm going to start off with my hot, and like Max alluded to, my random AEW stuff.
Crap.
I know I brought up Fyter Fest, which is their next pay-per-view next Saturday, and I read up more about it, and this is going to be I don't know, it's not strictly just wrestling, it's also a gaming tournament. Like they're kind of cross promoting both, game like esports and wrestling. They're partnering with CEO, which is Community Effort Orlando, which puts on gaming tournaments. So that'll be kind of interesting to, mix two, different communities, both in the wrestling world and gaming community. And I thought that would be, we got a bunch of gamers that, are part of the Infinity Bros. It might be something that you guys are interested in. Just see how that goes. And my other what's hot is Space Jam 2. I was
going to talk about that too, Mark.
Well, yeah, there it is. That's how hot it is. Unless you have it on Snot, which would, you probably saw some bad things from who didn't love the first Space Jam?
Oh, so good.
That's a good point.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And Ryan Coogler's directing it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, he's writing it. He's writing it, not directing it. He's writing the script.
And, in this day and age, who's the best basketball player currently playing? It's LeBron James, even though...
Could be Kawhi Leonard. Some people would argue it's Kawhi Leonard now, Mark.
Sure, but you just look at the scoring leader. I mean, that's... some people don't... I don't remember LeBron James ever sitting out a majority of the season because he was upset. But, whatever. Moving on from that.
That's fair. The director, by the way, is... Mark, just so you know, the director is Terrence Nance. It's not Ryan Coogler.
Okay. Thank you. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of story they put together with Space Jam 2, because you're thinking, well, after the first Space Jam, they defeated, the Monstars, and, they were never to come back. So it'll be kind of interesting the story they put together, and hopefully it's done well.
6 out of 6 on Coogler rating that, man.
All right.
That's the saving grace of this news is Coogler.
And then I have 2 Snot things, but first I wanted to get to one where I thought I don't know if I would call it hot or snot. It was like, in the middle. And I read an article today where DC Comics is getting rid of Vertigo Comics. And they're taking all those Vertigo titles just into the DC universe and just putting like age restrictions or like markers on those comics. Because Vertigo has been more of the adult side, like, what is it, Sandman, Swamp Thing, other stuff like that. Saying you're the resident comic book master.
Yeah, well, so Vertigo was a lot of the DC line that they didn't want to be necessarily
like they didn't want to put the DC logo on it.
Right. And so it was very much more of the adult, like they were like, it's by DC, but it's still kind of its separate thing. Because, you're Sandman, Preacher... things like that were all Vertigo.
So now they're getting rid of Vertigo, and they're just going to put on Sandman they'll put 18 plus or 17 plus on the comic book.
Right. Well, because it's interesting you brought that up, because I actually have that on my snot list as well.
Okay.
And so what they were going to do, because I was reading that article as well, and they're breaking it up into 3 categories. So they're going to have DC Kids, which is for like 8 to 12 or around that area. And then they're going to have the middle category is just regular DC, which is where most things are going to fall under, and it's going to be like 13 plus. And then what like Vertigo is getting assimilated into is going to be DC Black Label, I believe it's called, or DC Black. And they're going to be taking all of that adult stuff, the stuff that's the 18 plus, all that stuff, and just putting it all into one place with DC Black. And I don't know. I feel like Vertigo had enough of a push to it that it kind of had its own feel. And I put it to snot just because I'm like, I just don't feel like they really needed to go away from having Vertigo.
But do you think it might open up the door to maybe we can get like an adult version of like a Batman book with like maybe harder tones, if like Zack Snyder was able to put something into a comic book?
Well, hypothetically, you'd think, you could get that, but would they ever take a character like Batman and really push into that territory? Because Batman's such a character that's attributed for that mainstream of DC. That's why I kind of had the problem of getting rid of Vertigo, because anything that you didn't want to put the DC brand on and say, hey, this is what we're going with, Neil Gaiman comes out with some weird series again.
Yeah.
And I felt like that was the whole idea, and it had way more thought out, it felt like, by having Vertigo, because those series that you didn't want to put your DC stamp on it, but you wanted to give someone a chance to tell their story. That's what that was.
I follow you. So you're thinking, no, yeah, I follow you, and I agree with that, where will they be willing to do that now? But now that they're saying that they're going to have this DC Black, maybe it'll just be like, hey, we're fine with this, and this is where it's going to be, and everything's under the same umbrella with the same name.
Right. And it's just like, I mean, it's a thing you can do, but like, do you really want to see a Batman story like that's going to be put under the same label that you'd put Preacher under? Like, in my mind, those are very different universes, and that's why I liked having Vertigo, that you could put these stories its own universe, its own thing, just kind of not off to the side, but have its own spot. But now you're absorbing it into everything, and I don't know. I just, it'll be interesting to see how it pans out and how it's, moves from there. But yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of that.
Gotcha. All right. Well, moving on to my two snots. My first one, I put on there. I saw that there's talks about making a Halloween 2 and a sequel to the Halloween that just recently came out with 40 years in the future with Jamie Lee Curtis and that whole universe expanding from the very first Halloween movie. And my thoughts are, if anyone's seen how Halloween, the newest Halloween movie ended, how do you make a sequel of it? And I just, because they kind of tried to pin it in reality, but now if you're going to say this dude can just never die like he does in the other movies, then what was the point of that first one? Or the newest sequel? Or revive, or I don't know what you want to call it. And then my number one snot that I saw today was the EA CEO, Andrew Wilson, apologizing for Anthem and how bad it's been, and telling the community that, oh yeah, my team right now is working on it, and we're gonna make something special for you guys. Like, after you had a huge campaign for a video game and you had people pre-order it because you put so much hype into it, and then it just blew out of the water and just stunk, and now a few months later you're like, I'm sorry, we're trying our best over here. I think that's crap on EA, but what, we shouldn't expect anything good from EA, right?
They've been getting away with this for what would be years now. So this shouldn't be news. This shouldn't be surprising to any of us.
Well, it's not only that, but especially with Anthem, and if you've been following anything that's kind of been coming out PR wise, it's just it's even more of just just a real kick. The fact that just coming out and apologizing like that, they have been doing nothing to support this game. I remember I was watching a video on it a week or two ago, and it was their official Twitter didn't come out with any type of update in a month. And this is a game that's supposed to be retroactively, continuously coming out with new stuff, coming out with new, missions, raids, whatever you want to call them. It's supposed to be continually growing, and to not have any type of update or news in an entire month, and then you're just going to have the guy come out and just, oh yeah, we're sorry. I don't know what happened with this game for it to fail like it did so miserably, and just have the ball totally dropped. But yeah, it's just really kind of disheartening. And yeah, you see it coming from EA, and you're just like, when are you guys going to get your stuff together? Which hopefully they do with Fallen Order.
They won't until somebody challenges them and pushes them out of business, or they get boycotted. So
right. Agreed.
Cool. All right. Moving on. Isaac, why don't you do your hot and snot now, man?
Alrighty, so I'm gonna do my snot first because I literally only have one thing on my snot, and this is actually from maybe a month ago or something, and I just got around to watching it not too long ago, and it's actually the Batwoman trailer. It's another show that's coming out on the CW. And I watched it, and I've been mildly interested in the Arrowverse, the Arrow, the Flash, and I did start DC Legends of Tomorrow, but I just lost interest after a while. And this trailer just didn't spark anything in me that made me want to get back into it. I was like, okay, cool. The thing that was great about all those shows was the awesome crossovers that they do. So that they did show a clip of Batwoman, doing a crossover event with some of the other heroes and stuff like that. So that was kind of cool to see. But also it's oh, well, why isn't Batman in this universe? And I'm sure they go into that in the actual show, but it just, I don't know, it just didn't spark any interest for me, and so that was on my snot list. So I'll go into my hot stuff. Batman, who I just mentioned, was announced that he is going to get his own Hollywood Walk of Fame star in 2020, along with Spike Lee, Mahershala Ali, Chris Hemsworth, Octavia Spencer, and Julia Roberts. So I thought that was kind of cool that he is just such a cultural icon that he is getting his own Hollywood Walk of Fame star.
Mahershala Ali is a pretty phenomenal actor too. Do you know he plays the uncle in Into the Spider-Verse, Isaac?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cool. Nice.
Yep, he's in Green Book. He's in that, and then there's one. Oh, he's in Luke Cage. Luke Cage. That's right. He's
who is he
what's
in
the
Luke Cage?
Cottonmouth.
Yeah,
Oh, he's Cottonmouth in Luke Cage.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, he's a great actor.
That's a good crew to be with.
Nice, dude. That's all. And Chris Hemsworth is on there. That's cool. Yeah, nice, dude. How does Julia Roberts not had one before this?
Seriously?
That's what I want to know.
That's the strangest one out of
Because
them
like
all.
she was like such a
Spike
huge
Lee too.
Yeah, and Spike Lee too as well. Yeah, they've been such huge stars like for so long. That's surprising that they don't have one already.
Yeah, I agree.
Well,
But anyways,
sorry. What I've heard with the stars on the Walk of Fame, you have to be campaigned for, and then there's like a fee that you pay, and then there's like a committee that votes on you. So if literally like that, you could be a quasi celebrity, but if you pay $30,000 and they let you in, then you get a star.
Yeah, so is that why Donald Trump has a star? Because he probably
yes,
just paid
that's
for it.
exactly
Probably.
why Donald Trump has one.
But maybe there was enough hype for like Julia Roberts or someone in her family's like, hey, let's get you the star. Like, I'm pretty sure that's how that works. But
Oh, interesting.
pretty permanent too.
I
You're
didn't
there
know that.
forever. So I mean,
yeah, until the apocalypse happens. But whatever.
Yeah, right.
heard that.
All right, so next up on my hot list, I've got there was a countdown on Marvel Entertainment's Twitter feed last week, and it was a spider web in the countdown. It started at 4, 3, 2, 1. There was a ton of speculation going around about what it was going to be, and everybody started freaking out because it started with the 4, which is kind of strange for a countdown to start on. So everybody was kind of like, are we getting Spider-Man 4? Like old school Sam Raimi coming back, like blah, blah, blah. But from the start, it was pretty clear to me that it was like a comic book thing because it was like a little bit more cartoony and stuff like that. And the big reveal was that J.J. Abrams is getting his own Spidey comic book series coming out in, I believe, October or November of this year. And his son. His son is going to help him write along with. And then they have a different illustrator as well. So I just thought that was kind of cool. And I was like, I have never been one to keep up on current comic book runs. Like I just buy, like graphic novels and one shots and all that kind of stuff. But I was like, you know what? Maybe this will be interesting enough for me to get into buying some current comics. So that's kind of cool. And then the last thing that I have on my hot list is some podcasts that I've been listening to, actually. I've never been a podcast guy until we started the Infinity Bros podcast. Then I was like, man, I should listen to some podcasts so I know what the heck I'm doing. And two of them that have been really fun and interesting for me to listen to are the Christian Nerd and the Nerd of Godcast. The Christian Nerd actually shouted us out on his podcast, and I believe it was like 2 weeks ago now. Cool. Scott Higa is the guy that runs the podcast, and he I responded to one of his tweets on Twitter, and he mentioned it in his podcast, and then he was like, hey, you know what? I listened to the Infinity Bros podcast. It was kind of cool. I liked it. So I was like, oh, man, sweet. We got a shout out. So Scott Higa,
maybe he's the one who
much.
gave us the 4-star reviews.
Oh, uh-oh.
Possibly.
Oh, man. We could have
he
found
didn't
our
like
culprit.
us. He didn't like us that much, I guess, huh? Well, thank you anyways.
Isaac,
Scott,
have you
for
listened to our
petitioning.
show?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't give it a 5-star rating either. So
There we go.
I get
Come
it.
on.
I get it. But Jared did, so I mean, has anybody else given ourselves a 5-star rating?
Why would I give this a 5-star rating?
I don't think I have. Have you seen?
I have not.
Robbie hasn't. Robbie doesn't know how to work a computer, so
I have not
Right.
given us a 5-star review because I am incredibly humble.
Same, exactly. I would venture to say that Zane and I are the most humble Infinity Bros on this podcast.
totally. Yeah, by a mile. By a mile.
Anyway, so that's the Christian Nerd. You can follow him at Christian Nerd on Twitter. That was actually how I found out about him. And then the other one is the Nerd of Godcast. You can follow them at Nerd of Godcast. They're both like nerdy podcasts that kind of shoot at it from a Christian perspective, which is really cool to see since all of us have kind of a Christian background. So just really cool. And if you're not a Christian, they're still cool podcasts. They're just like nerdy podcasts. So go check them out. And those are the hots that I've been looking into this week.
Cool, man. Good list. Isaac, make sure you send me links to those guys' podcasts. We'll make sure we put those guys in the show notes and shout them out. Zayner.
So mine's not incredibly detailed too much here. Kind of on my snot list was what me and Mark discussed about DC kind of absorbing the Vertigo label. Kind of went over that already. The only other thing that I had, which I wasn't a huge fan of it even back on the trailer, but now that it's coming out, like I'm really not a fan of the new design on the new Chucky in the Child's Play movie coming out. Like, it's awesome that it's Mark Hamill voicing it, but I'm just not a fan of the look. I'm just, maybe it'll be a decent enough movie to go see and stuff, but right now I'm not sold on the look.
They're promoting the heck out of Mark Hamill on that movie.
Oh yeah, like they're throwing everything behind. Yeah, we got Mark Hamill.
It's Mark Hamill and Aubrey Plaza.
Their marketing campaign is actually pretty great. They've been putting out those posters of Chucky like slaughtering all the Toy Story toys, which is hilarious because they're coming out on this weekend, the same weekend.
Right. Which has been very clever and well done. But
there's no way they even touch Toy Story this weekend. There's no way.
Oh, no, not at all.
Like, I don't know who thought that'd be a good idea to have this come out the same weekend as Toy Story. But
by the way, if you're listening to the show looking for a Toy Story review, we will have that next week.
Yay. Yes. I'm going that next week too, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Proud of you. Okay. The hot for me, this past week, we had a leaked look at the Monster Hunter trailer or teaser trailer for the Monster Hunter movie. And that actually looked very cool. I don't know if it's still up anywhere because it was literally looked like someone recorded it from a cell phone. So I don't know if it's been taken down. But just from what I saw from the trailer, I'm excited. I know, like Isaac, Jarrett, and Robbie, we play Monster Hunter, and it's a fun game, great game, and it looks like this movie can potentially do a game like that justice. Granted, it's just from a 30-second bit, but I think it has the potential to be a actual good movie because we all know how video game movies tend to kind of come out. So I'm kind of hoping this might change that a little bit. I also have the Batman getting a star on the Walk of Fame. Kind of hit that already. It is cool that it is also the first comic book hero to ever get one. So that's interesting to me. And then to finish it off, give it a little anime flavor here. My Hero Academia Season 4 comes back in October. Super excited about that. I don't know of other people that watch it. I know Robbie does, so shout out to you, Robbie. Excited about that and where this season is supposed to go from the manga. This is supposed to be a pretty big arc in the story of what they're coming out with. So, yeah, I'm excited for that to come back in October.
Cool. I got a little longer list, but some of you guys touched on some of them, so I won't talk about those. I'm going to talk on one thing, though, that's been brought up earlier. Actually, two things now that I think about it.
Are you going to talk about AEW?
No.
On a snot list,
for Snot, I'm going to talk about the Space Jam cast. I think this cast is not going to be good, and I'm really kind of concerned about it. But I'm having a reserved demeanor about it because, how do I put this?
Not a Danny
Kugler
fan?
Kugler's gonna do well. I think Kugler being on it is phenomenal.
Are you talking about all the like basketball players that were announced?
Yes, I'm talking about the basketball players that are in it. So I'm excited for the movie, Mark, like you are, but like I hear Klay Thompson, Damian Lillard. I'm excited for LeBron James, obviously. And then what was the other one? It's a star-studded cast. Anthony Davis. And then who is the woman that's in it too?
Diana Taurasi.
Diana Taurasi, and I can't even say that name.
Neka Ogwumike?
Agwumike?
I have no idea.
Yeah, whatever. It's just not. I wanted. If I look at this, I want Steph Curry. I want Kevin Durant. I want Greek Freak. I want Kawhi. And how these guys are not in it is beyond me.
Well, I mean, just go back to the first.
So you're
Space
just
Jam.
concerned about the.
Not all of those
You're
guys
just
were
concerned
super
about-
all-stars.
I don't like the personalities on this. There were
Oh,
the
okay.
differences
Okay.
in the
I see
first.
where-
The
I see where
differences
you're
in the
coming from.
first movie. The personalities were there.
Okay, yeah, no, I agree.
You know what I mean? Like Muggsy Bogues. Like, yeah, was he the best player in point guard? No, but he was short and it was funny, right? And then Charles
Got
Barkley.
Sean Bradley.
Yeah,
just
and I
being
just
super
like
tall.
I
No,
don't.
I follow it. No, I got where you're coming from.
Yeah, I firmly dislike this cast, but I will say, and again, I have to put this caveat there: Coogler directing, Coogler, writing, I have full trust in Coogler, 100% trust in him. The Angry Birds 2 trailer, I watched that the other day. I give that a fan-fortastic. I don't feel like I need to go any further into that.
Why? But it made so much money. The first one did.
Did it make a lot of money?
That's what.
Can you
deems
prove that, or are you
success,
just saying?
right?
Are you talking out of your butt like you usually do?
Why
How
would they
is
make a
Angry
sequel
Birds
unless
getting-
it made?
Yeah, how is that getting a sequel, but Man of Steel isn't?
There we go.
No.
Hey, thanks for bringing up an emotional topic for us, Zane.
Mark, do you think you and I should start putting together a list of sequels that have been made before Man of Steel?
Yes.
Just to
and
prove a point? Like, go ahead and just start that list with Angry Birds 2, the movie that nobody asked for.
I honestly thought you said you were gonna say, "How about we create the Man of Steel sequel?"
At this point,
I
we
was-
might as well.
Who's
ridiculous.
playing Superman?
All right, here
Robbie.
you go. So the
Robbie,
first
Gonna have to shave.
Angry Birds movie had a budget of $73 million and made $352.3 million in box office.
Well, that's more than I thought it made. Well,
Yeah.
That's why it's getting a sequel.
Yeah. And then finally, for my last snot, I have Max Landis, American screenwriter in the news. He's known for writing films and doing those kinds of things. I actually heard about this guy on Movie Fights, the YouTube channel, the YouTube show that used to go on Screen Junkies. I kind of stopped watching them after they had their incident with their lead man Andy Signore. And I just continue to hear about these directors and powerful people in Hollywood. And it's just a continued reminder from my perspective that these people are not only flawed, but they're Hollywood is not to be as trusted as people want to trust them. And sometimes they make films that have incredible messages, but for the majority of the time, it's about the dollar bill and it's about power. And this is just another example of it. And if it's true or not, I obviously he could definitely be innocent. So I want to kind of give him that opportunity to be proven guilty first. But 8 different women accusing him, that's really tough to say that's a fabrication or a lie in my perspective. But we'll let the legal process play out. Just a continued reminder that Hollywood's got a lot of flaws in it. And it's got a lot of stuff it needs to fix. And I don't appreciate when it attacks people as much as it does regular people. He's known for movies like Bright, Chronicle, and American Ultra. If you're thinking of movies that you've seen potentially, I know Chronicle is probably the big one on that list. Bright came out on Netflix 2 years ago. I watched that and I'd give that a 2 out of 6. I was pretty disappointed in that one with Will Smith. So disappointing news from Max Landis. I thought he was a good guy and looks like that's not true. For Hot, I have Isn't It Romantic? I watched the movie with a star-studded cast because I can't remember anybody right now. I'm sorry, guys. I'm getting star-studded casted as I speak.
how many times can Max say star-studded cast in a podcast? That's what I
seriously.
want to know.
We'll just wait until we do our top 5 list.
Ooh, it's gonna be so star.
Every single one is star-studded because it's got Keanu in it.
Oh, yeah. It's so true. It's so true. It stars Rebel Wilson's her name. That was the gal. Rebel Wilson, Liam Hemsworth, Adam Devine, They're phenomenal in this movie. I give this one a 4.5 out of 6. If you're looking for a great rom-com that mocks other rom-coms, oddly specific thing you're looking for, but if you're looking for that, this is the movie for you. Rebel Wilson plays a woman who's a lead architect in her job, doesn't really believe in romance, doesn't believe in love, and gets sent to this world where basically her life becomes a romantic comedy. And it talks about the tropes of romantic comedies. It flips it kind of on its head. All the attractive men are attracted to her, and the only person that's kind of normal in the world is her friend, who is the love interest of the movie. Paint by numbers movie, nothing spectacular, but in terms of a great rom-com that you can sit down with your significant other and watch, this is a great one. Very little swearing in this. The swearing's on the back end, and you'll have to watch it to understand what I'm saying with that. But also the sexual stuff is they play the joke is whenever she goes to have sex, a montage happens, and then she wakes up the next morning. It pans right, and then she wakes up. So for 7 days straight, she tries to have sex and she can't do it. It's hilarious. It's actually very funny. And she can't swear, and they have all these hilarious romantic tropes. So if you're looking for a great rom-com, go check that out. I rented it. You can rent it on Redbox, or I'm sure you can find it on whatever on-demand platform you're using. And Aubrey Plaza did a Hot Ones interview. Do you guys watch Hot Ones?
Yes.
On YouTube?
Is that the one where they eat chicken wings?
Yes.
Oh, I just watched a couple episodes of that. That's awesome.
This is the best Hot Ones episode I've ever watched. The Aubrey Plaza one. And the reason I say this is Aubrey Plaza, she's promoting Legion right now, Zane, season 3, which I'm sure you're excited for. And the other one she's promoting is Child's Play, because she plays a mom in it. And normally when Aubrey Plaza gets interviewed, she's very dry, very sarcastic, and hard to read. And this kind of exposes her towards the back end. The last 4 wings kind of bring out her true self. And it's really raw, and I really enjoyed it. There is significant swearing in it, I will say, but man, it's hilarious, and she's hilarious. I love this clip. I'll put it in the show notes, but this is the best Hot Ones I've seen ever. Those guys doing a phenomenal job on that YouTube channel. I try not to miss any episodes, but man, that episode is it's a 6 out of 6. Very, very strong show, and it's a 25-minute show. So if you're on the go, check it out. You don't have to watch it. You can just listen to it, and man, is she raw.
It's amazing with that show specifically, and because I've watched enough of it too, of when you start getting into really hot wings, how quickly people open up.
Well, they have no choice.
Right.
They can't focus on their answers anymore.
And the one with Kevin Hart,
it throws them off.
The one with Kevin Hart, he's basically drunk from the hot wings because they're so hot, and he's just like, oh my gosh, it's so hot.
Right.
And they just want to answer your question as quick as possible. So they're saying it's word vomit at times. And the host, Sean, I forget his last name, but he does a phenomenal job of researching people. So there's actually montages you can find on YouTube where people will go, how did you know that? How did you find that? You had to ask somebody oddly specific to get the information. Right. So really great show. If you don't watch Hot Ones, what are you doing? Watch that show. Great show on YouTube. But the Aubrey Plaza episodes, start with that. There is swearing on the back end of it, but man, is that a great show. Love that show. They've interviewed basically everybody that's famous. It seems like lately.
Celebrities, yeah. It's great. Yeah.
The Jeff Goldblum one is great too. Have you seen that one, Isaac?
Oh, I haven't. I need to.
Oh gosh. Okay, Isaac, when you're done with the show, watch the Jeff Goldblum one. That one is phenomenal. It's a great episode. A 6 out of 6 that. 2 things we talked about or are going to talk about. There's another clip I'm going to attach to the show notes here. Mark Hamill goes through his most iconic voices that he's done in his career, and he has an extended 4 or 5 minute thing where he talks about how he got the Joker, how he voiced it. He actually talks about the different laughs and the decisions he makes for different laughs, and he even references every other Joker that's done a DC movie. He acknowledges them and really appreciates all their work, even dating to some obscure Batman TV shows that have been on. It's a great interview. Obviously for Child's Play that's coming out, it's promo for that. But if you want a great interview to hear about that and his work in Avatar: The Last Airbender, I know he played a character in that. Definitely check this clip out. I'll include it in the show notes. It's an awesome episode. And then finally, Keanu Reeves getting potentially an MCU role. We talked about it last week, but it's kind of picking up steam. It seems like it's going to become more of a reality. So I'm super excited about that. Again, I just want to throw that to the sky. That is hot. Please give us Keanu Reeves in an MCU movie.
Yes,
Kevin
100%.
Feige. So, speaking of Keanu Reeves, should we head into the top 5?
Absolutely.
The most iconic top 5 we've ever done.
All right, let's do it. Let's head to the top 5. The
Forgotten in 3,
Infinity Bros
2,
Top 5
1.
list starts now. So on the top 5 every week, we get together and do some water cooler talk, a little bit of Mount Rushmore style, just ranking anything that is of interest to us in pop culture, of interest to us in our life, and maybe important during the time that we're filming it. So this week we're talking about Keanu Reeves because Toy Story 4 is coming out, and there's been just kind of this internet surge with him, especially with last week at E3 and just other stuff like that. So we are talking about the top 5 Keanu Reeves movies of all time. Mark, we are going to go ahead and start with you.
All right. Buckle up, Infinity Bros universe. Here we go. Here are my honorable mentions for Keanu Reeves movies. My first one, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, the first of the 2 that are currently out. They're currently making a third one. Another honorable mention, The Matrix, The Devil's Advocate, and then Knock Knock, which is one of his newer movies in the last few years. Then on to my top 5. My number 5 top Keanu Reeves movie is Constantine. I know when this movie came out, it had a bad rap, and probably critics probably poo-pooed it because it probably didn't make enough money, and that's why we never got a sequel. All the things that acts a movie in Max's eyes. My number 4 is Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, the sequel to Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. The reason why I like this one, I think it's the fact that Bill and Ted die and then go to hell and then rickroll the Reaper and the devil and then get their lives back. And I just remember as a little kid getting this movie in VHS and watching it over and over again. My number 3 is Point Break, which is one of his classics and probably what people know him, maybe not best for, but one of his top known movies. My number 2 is, you might say this is cheap, but I would say John Wick as a character in all those movies. So my number 2 is all the John Wicks, and then my number 1.
Hold on, time out.
Anyways, moving on. My
You
number 1
cannot
favorite.
pick
My
all
number
3.
1.
No, you cannot.
Yes, it's my list, Max.
No.
Get over it. I'm all in on Keanu Reeves. My number 1.
You have a top 8. You don't have a top 5. What are you doing here?
My number 1 favorite Keanu Reeves movie, The Replacements. That is my favorite Keanu Reeves movie. And if you don't know what The Replacements are, it's about, a fictional professional football league that goes on strike and they have to find, replacement players. And Keanu Reeves is Eddie Falco in this as, a washed up, famous college quarterback that takes a professional team and, redeems himself. Gene Hackman's in it. Gotta love Gene Hackman. And that's my top 5 list, no matter how much Max will, criticize it. But, I'm ironclad against the criticism of Max, so don't worry, Infinity Bros universe.
Thanks for your top 10 list, Mark. We really appreciate it. All right, Isaac,
Mark
go ahead.
played Blue Beetle against Max.
Yeah,
I
seriously.
did. I laid down Blue Beetle, and there was something Max could do, and you could see it in his eyes.
I love it. Hey, just keep it within 5 movies, and this clown comes on here and does...
I'm sorry that I love the
all
icon.
the John Wick movies because
Hey, I didn't say Feely in Minnesota or any of the Speed movies or just the first
I'm
one
actually
that
going to
he's in.
rank all of Keanu's
or
movies.
any of the other Matrix movies.
Yeah, why didn't you just put them all? Why didn't you put Bill and Ted all together too while you're at
You know
it?
what? I want the fans to
And The
go to our
Matrix.
Twitter
Why didn't you put
and
The Matrix
ask
together, too?
Max his top 5 least favorite grossing movies that are not successful because critics said they weren't.
I'm surprised Mark didn't just take it for the top 5 and then 1, 2, 3 is John Wick 1, John Wick 2, John Wick 3.
Did you
And then
want
I'm
that,
going to do The
Max?
Matrix,
Did you
and then
want
I'm going to
that?
do Bill and Ted's, and then I'm going to do Point Break, even though
I
it's
just
not
said
even
the
on my
Matrix.
list.
I
And
think
then
the
I'm
other
going to
Matrix movies are crap. I'm putting that out there.
Cool. Now that we're done with your list, Isaac, let's get to a real list. What's your top 5?
Well, that is unfortunately not going to be happening. My list is 5 movies that I have seen, and I have not seen any more Keanu Reeves movies. So,
My man.
so this is my top 5 Keanu Reeves movies. And this is not because I think he's a bad actor. I think he's amazing, but I just haven't gotten around to watching any of his movies. Maybe that makes me a terrible person. I don't know.
Please have
that's a
3 of the
very
movies,
uniconic
the Matrix
statement of you.
movies.
Yeah. It's not very star-studded of me either, as Max would say. So, number 5, I have Speed, and I honestly don't remember basically anything about that movie. I just remember watching it when I was very small in the background at my grandma and grandpa's house. So it probably wasn't the greatest movie to watch for a child, but that's why I have it at 5, because I literally don't remember like anything about it. So, number 4, I have the third Matrix. Number 3, I have the second Matrix. Number 2, I have the first Matrix. And number 1, I have the Replacements as well, Mark, because that actually is a amazing movie that I would put on a top 5 list anywhere else.
But it's top 5 by default because
It's top 5 by default. All the 5 movies that I've seen of Keanu Reeves are on my top 5 list by default. So
I like how Max rips me for having a ton of Keanu Reeves movies, but will say nothing to you. It's that's what Isaac had. That's all you can play with.
That's literally all I can do, and I could put more on here, but I haven't seen any of them, so I would be
that's okay.
just pulling
Hey,
crap out of
Isaac,
my butt.
Isaac, maybe you can borrow some of Mark's list.
Yeah, would you mind sharing with me, Mark? I have plenty of space over by my list.
No, I don't give my iconic list to any lesser being.
Oh
my
I'm
gosh, I haven't laughed that hard in a
I
long
guess in
time.
this sense, I am a lesser being, so it's fine.
Well, Zane, I guess you and I are going to be reeling in this show then, because
somebody
Right.
else say they're
Right.
better.
I
list.
love how you said where Speed's your number
Woof.
5, and you prefaced it with it was in the background at your grandparents' house. Like you saw it, you
Yeah,
kind of
I've
saw some
seen
stuff. How do you know it was Speed?
I know it was Speed.
Did you see
because,
Sandra
like,
Bullock in it? There was a bus.
No, because I remember
Like,
my
what was
mom
the
and dad
deciding
talking
factor
about
that
it
it
and
was
being
Speed?
like, "Oh, they probably shouldn't be watching this movie right now." That's why I remember it.
Oh, gosh. Oh, thank you for that, Isaac. I really appreciate that. That was good.
My
Whew.
pleasure.
Ooh, Zane, why don't you go ahead, buddy?
All right. So, honorable mentions for me. It's gonna be Speed.
List 4 movies off.
All
My
5 of the
honorable-
movies that
my
were on my
honorable
list are on
mentions are-
Zane's.
Yeah, they're all my honorable mentions.
Could we have not had 2 worse people to review those top 5? Like, honestly,
terrible.
those were the worst 2 Infinity Bros to pick right there.
Well, that's why we're going first.
So, Speed, Constantine, and 47 Ronin are my honorable mentions. For,
Is 40? What do you rate 47 Ronin?
3 out of 6.
Okay, I haven't seen it yet.
It's
That's
not
why.
really good, but it's not terrible either. It has a cool special
Hey,
effects.
was it financially successful? Because Max won't see it unless it's financially. No. He won't see it if it's bad critic. I don't know. Just let Max watch it.
Zane, do you
Zane,
think
I'm sorry
Mark's
for
internet's ever going to
interrupting. I
work?
just
Because we
had
can't hear a word he's
rib.
saying of us right now.
It's probably just losing all those packets. It's still trying to send his whole Keanu Reeves list.
Is there a Ronin 46 and a Ronin 48 for Mark to package all together so you can watch?
There is not.
Okay.
Sadly. All right. Now into the top 5. Number 5 for me is The Replacements. Fantastic movie. But it only comes in number 5 for me. Number 4, interestingly enough, that either Mark or Isaac didn't say, I have Hardball.
Hardball's a good movie.
Great
I forgot
movie.
about that one.
Great movie.
I already had too many honorable mentions. I'm sorry, Zane.
That has the most devastating. That is the most devastating child death scene ever.
Very powerful. And that,
Oh my
that's
gosh.
why that had to be in my top 5.
Oh my gosh, that you're right.
very
Isaac, go
good.
watch Hardball.
Very good Keanu Reeves movie.
I believe Netflix has it.
I think you might be correct.
I think Netflix has it, Isaac.
Number 3, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. Like, it's just such a good-hearted movie. Number 2 for me is John Wick, and I'm going the first John Wick.
Mark.
Just because you can't create amalgamations for our top
Have you
five.
seen
So I'm
2
going
and 3?
The first John
Have
Wick.
you seen 2 and 3?
Yes,
have
I
you seen
have.
2 and 3?
I have seen all of them.
Okay, well then you're a fake Keanu Reeves fan, so go on, finish
I'm
your
still
list.
giving it to John Wick 1. Okay.
Yeah, Zane's the fake one. You're right. You're right, Mark.
And then my number one Keanu Reeves movie is The Matrix. That movie brought so many people into that realm of that sci-fi, and that just the way the movie was done, the Wachowski brothers, like that
Well,
movie.
they're not the brothers anymore.
Well, right. But
It's like the first comic book movie.
right. Like it was such a trend-setting type movie, and you just go back and watch that movie, and it's such a nostalgia trip. So yeah, I had to go with The Matrix at number 1 for me.
You know, The Matrix influenced the new universe of comic book movies. That's why X-Men all wore leather in that first X-Men movie.
It did. You're right. You are correct.
That is true.
All right, my top 5 list. Zane, I will also be doing a top 5 list. Now, I want to preface this with this, and this is where, honestly, out of the 3 lists, I'm going to pull my list out from being as valuable as Zane's, because I have not seen any John Wicks. So if I had, I would maybe probably put one of them in here, but I have not. So I'm prefacing with that. Mark, don't give me that look, though, because you put them all 3 together.
I put John Wick as a whole.
John Wick, I'm going to just have it be one spot, but it's not going to be the top spot. It's not going to be the top spot.
Because I love the replacements so much. I'm sorry.
Can I talk?
Yeah, you can. You're just not talking fast enough.
Thank you. Number 5 is Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. We've talked about that. Great film. The sequels are like meh, but it's going to be pretty exciting when that new one comes out. I know they're in development on a new one right now. Number 4, this is going to be a very weird choice to some people, but Animatrix. If you've never seen Animatrix, different styles of anime, different kind of stories, and Neo makes an appearance in that. And Animatrix was one of the biggest cartoon movies I watched when I was a kid. Love that movie, so I got to put that on here. Number 3 is The Replacements. I mean, all 4 of us put The Replacements on our list in some capacity. Anytime this movie's on, it feels like this movie's on all the time on like TNT or TBS at like 2 p.m. Isn't it like that afternoon? There's nothing to put on there. It feels like the networks just put it on there. I don't know what it is, but I watch it every time. It's a great movie. It's an awesome movie, and there's a lot of great people. Jon Favreau's in it. Gene Hackman's in it. It's a good movie. Number 2, Mark, this is you, man. Always Be My Maybe.
Yeah, but it's not really a Keanu Reeves movie, because I thought about putting that on my
It
list.
totally is a Keanu
for...
Reeves movie. It is 100% a Keanu Reeves movie.
Yeah, but is he the lead?
They were marketing him.
Really... Yeah, after the fact.
I get that he is in
No,
it
go
for
on with
such
yours,
a little.
I'm sorry.
No, I get that he's in it for a little bit, but he has such a heavy influence in the movie.
No,
And
I get that.
I'm
And
serious.
I enjoy
Always Be
him.
My Maybe is Always Be My Maybe right now is the second best movie I've seen this year, behind Endgame. I mean, that movie is fantastic. If you have not seen that movie, go watch it. It's a 6 out of 6 for me and Mark. It's phenomenal. That's number 2 on my list. And then number 1 for me is Matrix. I mean, it's going to go down in film history as one of the most influential pieces. People can't think of Keanu Reeves without thinking of Neo. Right. The other 2 suck. Completely agree with you guys. And the Wachowski brothers.
Isaac had them on his top 5.
He did.
By default.
The Wachowski brothers are now sisters. They really clicked on that one, but they haven't been able to find their groove, I think, since Sense8. Sense8's on Netflix too, and I like that show. It might not be your cup of tea for you, depending on what your stance is on specific political things, but I really liked Sense8, and this is the Wachowski brothers at their best. And honestly, Keanu Reeves at his best, I would argue. This is him. It is his best acting, and it'll be really cool to see him kind of show up again in an MCU universe if he's a hero. I'm really hoping they put him in a hero role, because it'd be fun to watch him be the hero of the universe. So, any
He ends
comment?
up being the new villain.
Well, he could. I mean, that's fine too. It would be really cool for nostalgia purposes to see him be the hero again.
Do you think he'll be wearing leather?
I hope so, Zane. Tight leather.
All right.
All right, then.
I think we've maxed out our mark for today. Any other comments, you guys, before we close the show out?
Yeah, Isaac, go watch some Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, Isaac,
movie.
you have homework this week, okay?
I've got homework to do. All right, I'll
Isaac-
report back to you guys next week. How's that
But
sound?
definitely for sure, go watch Hardball.
Yeah, watch Hardball. Actually, with Holly, she'll want to watch Hardball, but that's like really heavy movie. Watch Always Be My Maybe with Holly. Okay, go watch that movie. You guys are gonna love it. Holly will love that movie. Okay, 100% guaranteed. Watch Hardball when you got some downtime. That's a good movie too. Super like. Fair warning, if you've never seen Hardball, it has the heaviest
Powerful.
death scene I've ever seen in a movie by a mile. So it's so sad. So Isaac, you got some homework. Hey Isaac, you did a great job on the show today, man. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks.
You were awesome. Mark, I know we disagree on things. I know we always don't see eye to eye, but I love you and I'm grateful you came on the show today. Thank you.
I'm just here for the Infinity Bros universe. Oh, and before we go out, because I didn't mention it yet, I love my fiance Kelly.
Yeah, you have to mention that every episode. That's a prerequisite for you. But Mark, you did a great job. Thanks, man. And Zane, back in the studio, man. We're starting to get it
Heck
figured
yeah.
out. It feels like.
Back on the grind.
Yeah, back on the grind. We're glad you came in. You looked prepared today. You had stuff prepared on your phone.
Yeah, it's interesting what happens when you try.
It's crazy, Zane. It's amazing what happens when you try. But Zane, you did a great job this episode. Super. And the show is going off the rails. Zane, you did a great job, though. Thanks for a great episode. Thank you, listeners, for listening. I'm your host, Max Mosier. So grateful you came. We love you guys 3,000. We hope you have an excellent weekend and a great week. We will talk to you guys next week before the big July 4th break. And to close out the show, we're going to send you off on the sweet notes of Robbie on our most recent stream. See ya.
Okay. I'm signing off. Signing off for now, boys.
Robbie.
Peace out. Yo,
Signing
subscribe, like, and share our channel, okay? We just want to love you. Buy some merch. Get your merch. Infinity Bros Podcast. You can find us on Google, on Podbean, on iTunes, on Spotify.
I mean, that doesn't sound
Get
much
your
different
merch,
than the
like,
guy that
share,
Max had,
review.
do the podcast bit. So.
Thanks for tuning in to the Infinity Bros Podcast. You can find the Infinity Bros on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at The Infinity Bros. Feel free to send listener feedback via email at infinitybrospodcast@gmail.com.